Welcome back again, gang. It's great to have you all back. I want to say a few more things about this great class. And I'm trying to find my email from Sam Gray, who could not be here, unfortunately, tonight. But anyway, welcome back. And I especially want to welcome back the 5-year boys. Haven't you had enough? And maybe we have a 6-year boy somewhere in the audience, and we're lucky to have him in our class. I'm also happy to say that Tom McCaslin, even though he's theoretically a 65, we claim him for 64, and he's back tonight. So Tommy. So I must honor the 5-year boys by at least mentioning their names. And we have back Tim Reynolds, Tom Pittman, John Newcomb, Wayne Wentz, Ted Challender, Tommy McCaslin, Eric Spar, and Mike Wick will be back here tomorrow. Welcome back, guys. I want to read you a very special email that just rolled in this afternoon. You know, Ned Hall was the headmaster, but we knew who was really running the school behind the scenes, and it was Sam Gray. And Sam was signed up to come back for 4 nights, but for some reason he couldn't make it. And I want to read Sam's email to tell you what an education for the Hill does to you in command of the English language, at least for some of us. Dear Dave, to state the obvious, I am absent for this weekend's celebration, notwithstanding my long-standing plans to contrive the opposite result. The reasons are too prosaic to dwell upon, although sufficiently compelling on a personal level that they cannot be ignored. To miss the unique opportunity of the reunion is a great disappointment for me, but I am unable to arrange my plans otherwise. Here's my wish to all for a splendid time, which seems inevitable in light of the work you all have done in preparation for the reunion. Please convey my good wishes and regrets to the returning classmates. I shall be thinking of you all and of times passed over the weekend. All the best, Sam. There you go. I was going to spend a little time on Sam, but since he's not here, I'll just leave it at that. So looking back a bit, back in the day, in the depressing wake of the assassination of President Kennedy and the exciting arrival of the Beatles as we eagerly awaited college admissions decisions, we witnessed a major feat, an undefeated basketball season, a la Northrop and Company. Yay. We saw the introduction of the revolutionary Ford Mustang vehicle, along with a revolutionary larger-sized dial, our yearbook, breaking the tradition from the older, smaller book. And that's thanks to Sam Gray and John Moss and Eric Spar of the dial here tonight. Sadly, we've lost 3 of our dial guys, Bon Gardner, John Talbot, and Joe Vargas. Looking back at the dial and Ned Hall's comments, although Ned pointed out that we were not the brightest class, we might contest it. Ned knew very well, and he said that he had never known a better sixth form. And he knew us well enough to say that most of us would do well in college and beyond, and pegged us as the sort of people he would pick to build a better world. It's just terrific. So as we graduated, though I doubt we knew it, the winds of war were blowing in Southeast Asia. But off we went to college, most of us, well-schooled and coached with good study habits, athletic experience, and moral fiber, very good values, and how to be gentlemen, which probably lasted at least through freshman year. For some strange reason, some of the guys even chose co-education. 64 continued to excel in and out of the classroom. In fact, many of you guys played college sports, and some were captains of their respective college teams, including Robbie Harley, Tommy Chen, Dick Dietrich, Tom Northrup, Jim Dare, who was also an alternate in the U.S. Olympic team, and Mel Hotto and Bill Bixler, who's here tonight. Others probably would have been, they've been in the right fraternity. At least that's what I've heard. We continued to enjoy some of the best fun music ever to happen, much of which is still popular today, and which we'll be hearing some of that later on tonight. Of course, we had our own group, the Nocturnes. It was a great group, and they played that wonderful music. And here tonight, resting on their laurels, are Ali Transu and Bruce McMorrin. They're not going to perform, but I'm sure they'd be glad to autograph your dinner program. Now, each of us had to face our own personal challenge when it came to the ongoing Vietnam War. Many of the class served, more than half served. The function of the times, probably. The only thing I'll say about that is that those of us who, from '64, who went, all made it home. And Bruce Burton, 64, and I have an ongoing project involving the veterans of '64, so if you served and have not joined up, catch me over the weekend. Then it was into the wider world and all over the map and a wide diversity of professions, many raising families and fully engaged in the challenges and ups and downs of life. Each of us has many stories to share. We'll experience some of those stories and some of that diversity tomorrow at our 10 o'clock panel. From Sandy Warner, John Price, Dick Dietrich, Jim Dare, and Toby Wolff, with an energetic entrepreneur, Chap Hutchison, leading a lively discussion. I wish we had time for everybody to be on that panel. Any one of you could be, but certainly this will be one not to miss. Many of you have been back every 5 or 10 years to regroup at the Hill, and a very large group at the 40th when we set a record attendance. I'd like to mention what some of the guys have done here and there for the Hill, other than just writing a check, and in some cases a very big check. Several classmates had sons go to the Hill. Ray Ryan, Tim Howell, Tommy McCaslin, Dade Luckett, Bill Musser, Ed Jordan, Ted Wilson, and Jim Kaufman, and the great Rusty Drown. We honored Rusty with memorial benches overlooking the baseball field at the 40th. And if you get a chance, run up there and see him up by what we used to call the far fields. Over the years, 2 trustees from '64 have served the Hill, Tom McCaslin and Sandy Warner. 3 classmates have been honored and awarded the Sixth Form Leadership Award. That, by the way, is 2 more than any other class. Toby Wolff, Sandy Warner, and Oliver Stone. Oliver, in fact, delivered the powerful speech to the graduating class last year. Both Oliver and Toby have been back on occasion to share their talents, and Sandy has been present and a staunch ally of the Hill forever. Writing prizes were named in honor of 2 of our classmates, Toby Wolff and Bon Gardner. Bon, along with Tom Chen, were of course members of the Hill faculty. Even before graduation and then over the past 50 years, we've lost all too many classmates, some 21. We remember them today and will again tomorrow when we dedicate a faculty house in their memory. Planning for this event started about 1.5 years ago. The same weekend, Tom Northrup was inducted into the Hill Athletic Hall of Fame. A number of us gathered for a reunion kickoff meeting at Alumni House. It was very clear to me very quickly that we were in the presence of dedicated visionaries, particularly Transu and Northrup, with Pittman following a close third. And this energized the rest of us to get to work. We were launched and off to the races with the objectives to have a great gathering for the 50th and do some very good work for the future of the Hill. So have a great time tonight, get safely home, look forward to a fun and full day tomorrow. And now at this point, I'd like to ask Ali Transu to come up and say a few words by way of introduction to Toby Wolff. Thank you.
Hello again. Though most of you know our next speaker, I thought perhaps the best way to introduce him is to read a quote from David Sedaris that Ann Northrup sent to me last month. David Sedaris is a humorist and author of Santaland Diaries, Me Talk Pretty One Day, Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim, When You Are Engulfed in Flames, and Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls. His writing is wickedly funny and satirizes the political madness of contemporary America. He also writes for The New Yorker and has been nominated for 3 Grammys for his spoken word CDs. Anyway, Sedaris writes, quote, Tobias Wolff is America's greatest living short story writer. Sometimes I meet ministers, and I always say to them, if I had a church, I'd read a Tobias Wolff story every week. And then I'd say to people, go home. There's nothing else you would need to say. Every story is a manual on how to be a good person, but without ever being preachy. They're deeply moral stories. The best of them read like parables, close quote. Well, I'm not sure whether Toby has a parable for us tonight, but let's find out. I give you Toby Wolff.
Thanks, Ollie. Well, I can promise you 2 things. I'm going to be really brief. And the other thing I'm going to promise you is that I'm not going to tell you a moral story. I just want to begin by thanking all of the work, all of you who did all the work that brought us together here. Dave is obviously conspicuous in this, and Ollie and Tom and Wayne. Thank you. I used to love that hymn that we sang in chapel. I used to love these lines from a hymn that we sang. Time like an ever-rolling stream bears all its sons away. I thought those were beautiful lines. I never thought they had anything to do with us. And we find that it does. And I would like again tonight to honor everyone who isn't here tonight, and to say how blessed I feel to have shared the years I had here with them and with you. They changed my life completely, the time I spent here. When we have been talking, and my wife's been listening about what almost seemed like seemingly whimsical way that some of us got bounced out of here. And yet she could see this affection. She said, I can see you guys all really love the school, but why? And it's obviously because of the great friendships that we formed with each other, sometimes under duress, and also with the extraordinary kindness that all of us felt from many of the faculty members here, sometimes above and beyond the call. And so I would like to thank those who gave us so much kindness and kept us going here. Well, I was brought up here I was having lunch with Tom and Ollie when they came out to Palo Alto to put the arm on me. And somehow or other, we started talking, sharing memories. And as I said, this will be brief. And it had to do with a trip that some of us took to Florida in our 5th form year. And it happened this way. It was Bob Sloan, Bill DeVries, the then English exchange student. It wasn't John Price and it wasn't John Lloyd. It was the 62, 63 English exchange student, and I'm sorry I've forgotten his name. Thank you. That was it. Thank you so much. So we somehow, well, let me take it back just a step here. You will remember that when you had a note from the dean, you joined the long line of malfeasance outside of his office, and you stood there waiting to go in and to tell him why the thing you were guilty of, you weren't really guilty of. So you're getting it all together in your head, this narrative, which maybe cuts a couple of corners and does a couple of U-turns. You get in, and facing you on his desk, you must remember this, was a large drawing, obviously an enlargement from a cartoon he had seen somewhere, facing not him, but you as you came into the office. It was 3 bums. Their clothes in tatters, stubble cheeked. They're leaning together, tears coursing down their cheeks. The one in the middle has a violin. And the caption reads, "Oh, do tell me your story." And remember that? So right away, it flies out of your head. And as you'll remember, there was no quarter given in that office. And so somehow or other, Sloan and DeVries and Martin Wilcox and I contrived to convince the dean that we were all going to spend the spring break of '63, our 5th form year, with Robert Sloan and his parents in New Rochelle, New York, and we were allowed to go there. Well, what was actually waiting for us was this situation that we knew obtained, which was that his parents were away, but there was a red convertible there, and Sloan had a sister at the University of Miami who had promised to fix us up. So we piled into this red convertible. One of the things that was going to make us attractive to these creatures with whom we were going to be fixed up was that we were going to have blonde hair. So you remember, Tab Hunter, and so on. Troy Donahue, that was the look that we were after. So we stopped at a drugstore, we got blonde dye, and we went to a motel, and we dyed our hair blonde. It didn't really work out. It turned the hair kind of orangish green. Our English friend was horrified at what was going on. He couldn't believe, but we coerced him. He had to be, we put, let's say, great peer pressure on him. And so we turned his hair orange and green too, but still, his shock was palpable. When I told Ollie Tranzu about this, he said, "Welcome to America. This is what," he said, "Welcome to America. This is what we do." So anyway, we continued. We're driving to Coral Gables, top down. Of course, the minute you crossed into South Carolina, it was Red Sammy's fireworks, bigger bang for the buck, all you can beat up and bang. And so we loaded the car with fireworks, tops down. We couldn't wait till we get to Florida to set them off, so we're throwing them out the car. It's hot, we're kind of lying down with our feet out. And if you remember, the road down in those days was, in many places, just 2-lane, one going, one coming. We get stuck behind this stodgy sedan. We can't, and we're throwing firecrackers out the window, getting kind of annoyed at how we're being held up by these people. So finally we hit a clear place. We tear by this car, we look over contemptuously at them. They looked less contemptuously at us. It was Dean Evans. Dean Evans. And with his wife. Our orange-green hair did not fool him. It did not disguise us. The eyes locked. Everything was evident. We were going to be there for 2 weeks, and then our lives were going to be destroyed. So I could never relax the whole day. We went, of course, the first day we got there, we went to the beach and got totally sunburned so badly that we all had chills and had to stay inside. DeVries was the only one who got fixed up, of course, and as ever. And so we get back and we know it's like Judgment Day. It's like we're waiting outside the pearly gates. And we did indeed find notes in our box. Please see the dean. And the amazing thing was, and I've often pondered this in the years since, he did not throw us out. How could he not have thrown us out? And here I am. I mean, it is something that I have pondered. It's perhaps something that in theology would be called grace. It's undeserved. It's simply given. And at the same time, I mean, he must have known we knew we were going to be thrown out for 2 weeks. And he occupied that position, and it occurred to me that maybe when you sit in the seat of God, it sometimes amuses you to give a sinner a pass. And I think we all have reason to hope that will be the eventuality for us. Thank you.